everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Amy. Today I'm going to show you how I do an easy round brush floral design on this green glass bottle. I am going to be using two flat brushes. Both of these are from Princeton, or not flash, I'm sorry, round brushes. I normally use flat brushes. These are round brushes, the number 6, number 8 from Princeton. A number 8 Deerfoot Stippler, and a dotting stylus. Paint I'm using today is Forest Moss, Purple Lilac, and I don't know, this might be a new paint in this line. I know there were a couple that were new when I bought them, and I'm thinking that is one of them. I didn't get all the paints I ordered, but anyways, Real Brown, Wicker White, Eggplant, Thicket, and one of my favorites that I finally have some new of is Yellow Ochre. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. I am going to begin by using the number 8 round brush, and I'm just going to start by dipping my brush into the Purple Lilac, I can't remember the name of it, sticking a little bit into the white, and then I'm going to come up here and start making my design. Now, if you're someone that needs to have some guidance as far as making these strokes, you know, you can actually set it up to where you do like a clock. If you're going to do a whole open flower, that's up to you. I'm just guessworking here. I'm putting them in where I want them to be, but what I mean by that is like doing the 12, 3, 6, and 9, and then doing your filler petals. But as I mentioned, I'm just going to be doing it just kind of randomly, and you'll see what I'm doing here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and put another one in here. Again, I'm just continuing on doing the same stroke work. If I want, I can go, because this one's over on this direction, I can go around it differently, whatever you're comfortable with. I mean, that's what you have to understand when you're painting. Just because something might be good for me doesn't mean it's good for you. Also keep in mind, I am a lefty. So with that being said, I will possibly start in different directions than what you would start. So keep that in mind. If it doesn't feel natural to you when you're doing it, if you're trying to follow what I'm doing, then you might want to switch and go the opposite. Start instead of right to left, start left to right. That might make it easier for you. Just keep that in mind. Okay, and then I'm going to come over here, do the same thing. I'm trying to make sure I stay on the video. Also, just to reiterate, when you're painting on glass, make sure you've cleaned it well, soap and water, then go over it with rubbing alcohol before you paint on it. That way it'll get all the fingerprints and any oils or leftover debris that might be on from when you washed it and dried it, and then go from there with it. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is stick my brush into the eggplant, and I'm going to come back here and then start going around it with the eggplant. Now, keep in mind when you're doing this, if you feel like you need to have better coverage, say one of the strokes you did just isn't covering it very well, then by all means go back over it. If you need to do a drying time, you can maybe give it an hour or so and then come back over it. Or if you want to, maybe you want to just hit it with a hair dryer, heat gun, that type of thing, you can do that as well. Alright, so we're just going to keep doing it. Just see how easy this is. If you have a round brush, anybody can do this. I just want people to realize that there are very easy designs, that you don't have to be a trained artist to be able to create them. I like to encourage people to try to hone into their creative side, and really when you think about it, it's just very relaxing. Any type of a hobby you can get into that gives you some relaxation, takes your mind off of things, maybe just helps with your blood pressure. You know, there's just a lot of advantages to picking up just a real relaxing hobby. Or, you know, if you're looking for something to help you maybe bring some friends over, give you something to do that way. Nice night out with your friends. Host a painting party. They can bring their favorite bottle, or maybe you have extra bottles. Great way to keep glass out of the trash. And if you drink, even with beer bottles, in all honesty, those can be some really cute little flower vases. And I just like how these are not all coming out the same color. You know, they look different, which is the intent. You know, very easy, simple strokes. Nothing too difficult. If you can put a paintbrush in your hand, I think you can do this design, really. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you like it, that's what matters. Not what somebody else likes, right? Alright, so I'm going to give this a little bit of drying time before I go back in. Well, you know, actually, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with a heat gun because I need to do my centers before I do my vines. Alright, I gave it a little bit of a hit with the heat gun. I am going to load my Deerfoot Stippler. I put a little bit of the yellow ochre on the front, a little bit of the real brown on the back, and then I always tap it on my palette, which is typically a glass plate. And then I'm just going to come in here and just easily tap it in. If I need more coverage, again, I am going to just load my brush more and then do it around. Now you can do it where you go just, you know, completely around it. I probably would do it that way with a smaller brush because I don't want my center to be too big. And that was really probably too much paint here. I don't want it to be that thick either. But you can play around with your centers is basically the gist of it. And they don't all have to be going the same direction either. Like this one, probably would have had it very similar. I love putting in these kind of centers though. I love these brushes actually. And I do put links down below. The only thing I really haven't been putting down recently is the stylus, because really you can use anything to make dots. And you can find them online very simply through Amazon. Excuse me. But this is just a fun pattern. I mean, these are not only can make great gifts, instead of having a candle, put some lights in here, and you have the same kind of ambiance that you do with candles. But it's a little safer. I do the cork, wine bottle cork style lights in these. I like those. so I don't have to worry about drilling holes. But you can actually, I've seen some people actually do just a little hole in the back where they can feed the lights in and still plug them in. So you're not having to do like a huge hole, which that works too. You know, again, or if you don't want to add lights, that's fine too. Don't add lights. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do, and I did this kind of backwards on my sample paper, but I'm going to go ahead and just tap in a little bit of white. Oops, that's kind of a lot. Just randomly on each one of these. And I like, so this one's fine. I'm just doing it just to give it a little bit more interest. Then I'm going to take my stylus, and you can do this with a different color if you want, but I'm going to do it with the brown, and I'm just going to tap around it. You know, it doesn't have to show up a lot. Again, if you want it to show up more, do a different color. You could even do the eggplant around here, or do a few colors. It doesn't really matter, it's up to you. But again, very simple. Now this one, I'm just going to do up. Oh, I did it all right around. I was trying to look, see what I did on my sample paper. I could not remember, because you could just do it up around the yellow ochre part and call it a day, or do around the whole thing. And I chose to do around the whole thing, as you can see. And they don't all have to be the same size. It's okay to vary the size. A lot of times that is determined based on the amount of pressure you put or how much paint is on your stylus. Okay? So very easy, very pretty. The next thing I'm going to do is pick up the smaller of the two round brushes, which is the number 6. Going to stick it into my thicket, and I'm going to come through here and just slightly on the tip start putting in the I guess stem or vine, however you want to reference this. And just kind of, I'm not going to do any fancy pulls around the flowers to attach them to the stem. With this type of a thing, you know, being on a green bottle and all, it might be a little difficult to see if you just use just the thicket. I always like to go over things anyways, regardless of the bottle color. So this, just for one thing, the thicker your paint is, the better the coverage is going to be. So it's great to actually go over it so it's a little bit thicker. Now I'm going to start putting in some leaves, and I'm just going to be using the actual thicket right now. Just doing some basic, oh, I can't get this brush to spread out a little bit. Because I want them to be a little bit thicker, not thick, but just a little bit thicker. And it's just going to be a minimal amount of leaves, not a ton. And yes, I will be going over these a little bit so you can see them better. Just trying to think, I want to pull some out from the flowers themselves, but not a lot. If you're somebody that follows me, you know that I can get a little heavy with the leaves. So I am now just going to go back over it. Excuse me. Oh, I can't get this brush. The brush is not cooperating with me like I want it to. I don't want that to be. Trying to push it down a little bit is what I'm trying to do, if you wonder what I'm doing. Again, you can do like your basic one-stroke leaves if you want to, or if you have another way of doing leaves. You don't have to do them this way. I am just, I'm going to put one up like this. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. Okay. Hopefully you're getting the gist. You just put the brush down and pull it up, and now if you want to, need one more here. If you want to actually do the little attachment, just go up on the tip, just very lightly take it into the leaf. Not doing any big pulls into the leaves at all. Just very lightly. So they're kind of showing like they're connected, but it's not a big deal. Alright, so there you go. Pretty easy, right? I hope you like this video. If you do, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button that you'll see and the notification bell. And before you leave, if you would share this video on all your social networks. Pretty easy. Just hit the share button you'll find underneath the video and share where you want to share it. And I would certainly appreciate it. Anyways, thanks so much for taking time to view this video. And until the next time, stay safe and healthy and have a good one.